Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely fascinating, brought to us by Dr. Christophe Delong and Kinexa formation. We are literally bridging the gap between what used to look like martial arts mysticism and the hard, undeniable science of modern biomechanics. We're looking at Bruce Lee today, but, not just as a fighter. We're looking at him as a brilliant, way ahead of his time philosopher of human movement. Now, you've probably heard this famous quote, "Be like water, my friend." But here's the thing. It wasn't just poetry. It wasn't just some abstract spiritual advice to sound cool. It was actually a highly advanced formula for human movement. Decades before sports science could even properly measure it, Bruce Lee was in his training diaries documenting incredibly precise intuitions about leverage, center of gravity, force vectors, and muscular timing. So we've got a great roadmap today to decode that legendary power. We'll start with the one-inch punch paradox, look at the philosophy of water and the biomechanics of the whip, and then dive deep into invisible muscle friction before wrapping up with how Kinexa is actually measuring all of this today. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the one-inch punch paradox, and how to generate explosive power from just 2.5 centimeters. Now, this is a feat that completely baffled observers and physicists alike. Think about it. On one hand, you picture a heavily muscled athlete straining, grunting under immense tension. But on the other hand, you have pure, fluid, kinetic energy transfer. How did Bruce Lee, a guy weighing only 61 kilograms, manage to project heavy opponents several meters backwards from just a mere 2.5 centimeters of distance? He definitely wasn't the biggest guy in the room. He wasn't the strongest in a traditional sense. His secret literally had absolutely nothing to do with maximum muscle mass. The secret was a perfectly timed, sequential co-activation of his entire posterior chain. The power didn't start in his arm. It traveled up through his legs, swept into his hips, surged up his trunk, hit his shoulder, and only then whipped out through his arm. And the truly mind-blowing part of all this? That entire complex sequence was executed in exactly 50 precise milliseconds. 50 milliseconds. That's basically the blink of an eye. Let's move to section 2, the philosophy of water, or the biomechanics of being completely formless. To achieve that blinding speed we just talked about, Lee looked to nature. He realized that a body that neuromotorily acts like water flowing effortlessly over rocks, well, it possesses minimal parasitic tension. So what does that actually mean for us? It means there's no unnecessary internal resistance. The movement just adapts without any rigidity whatsoever, creating this completely frictionless kinetic flow where every single ounce of your muscular force becomes useful force. He took this concept of fluid efficiency and applied it through his martial art, Jeet Kune Do. He completely rejected rigid, traditional, generic styles. His philosophy was brilliantly simple. Absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically yours. He stripped away all the fluff to focus entirely on pure mechanical efficiency and optimizing the unique kinetic chain of the individual athlete. Which brings us right into section 3, the biomechanics of the whip and sequential energy transfer. Think of a cracking leather whip for a second. That tremendous supersonic snap you hear at the very tip, it doesn't actually come from the tip itself. That incredible energy release relies entirely on the rapid relaxation of the section just before it. It's like a rolling wave of energy. So here is the absolute crucial takeaway. Maximum power is born from a precise sequence of successive relaxations. Read that again. It is not about simultaneous maximum contractions. If you want that whip effect in the human body, the antagonist muscles, those are the ones that naturally oppose the motion you're trying to make, they must remain perfectly relaxed until up to 30 milliseconds before impact. That is how you eliminate friction. Bruce Lee called this concept relaxed power. Okay, let's look at section 4, the invisible muscle friction, the ultimate barrier to peak athletic performance. What actually happens when modern athletes fail to execute this relaxed sequence? 40%. Just let that sink in. That staggering figure is how much final velocity and power an athlete can lose. And get this, they aren't losing it because they aren't strong enough. They are losing it simply due to a premature co-contraction of their muscles. When your opposing muscles fire too early, it's quite literally like hitting the brakes while keeping your foot jammed on the gas pedal. This wasted energy creates an invisible friction. You can't see it with a naked eye, but boy, it reveals itself the moment an athlete's performance hits a plateau. The athlete's own body is essentially fighting against itself. It's generating all this parasitic tension instead of pure forward acceleration. Finally, section 5, Kinexa, measuring the void.
how we are bringing relaxed power right into the modern lab.
This is exactly where Dr. Christophe Delong and Kinexa formation are totally revolutionizing the game today. Because what Bruce Lee understood intuitively all those years ago, they are now measuring scientifically. By using highly advanced lab equipment with an unbelievable precision of plus or minus 5 milliseconds, Kinexa actually traces the complete map of contraction and relaxation for every single antagonist muscle during a powerful movement.
They track 3 specific vital parameters: the whip sequence, the antagonist timing, and the power index. And by doing this, they can pinpoint exactly where that friction is hiding in an athlete's kinetic chain. They find the exact microscopic moment a muscle fails to relax, causing a massive power leak.
When Kinexa applies these metrics in the real world, the contrast is just stark. An athlete who genuinely moves like water hits an incredible 95% efficiency on the relaxed power index, practically no waste, optimal kinetic flow. But an athlete bogged down by friction, they're operating at only 75% efficiency. That 20 to 30% gap is pure lost power. But here is the exciting part. It is entirely recoverable power once that friction is finally identified.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, we can really appreciate just how insanely ahead of his time Bruce Lee was. He realized that the strongest muscle isn't the most tense one. It's actually the most relaxed at the exact right moment. True power is not about adding more force, getting bigger, or just trying harder. It is entirely about stripping away the invisible barriers that are blocking the force you already have. Which leaves us with this final, really important thought to chew on. Your power is already inside you. It is just trapped by friction. So how much of your own potential is just sitting there waiting to be released? What could you achieve if you finally learned the science of letting go? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep questioning how you move.